And I think that he felt that he wasn't ready for that culture, which I found to be very interesting. And so there was.
What was the culture?
I'm choosing my words very carefully because now that he's a young man, right? He was he's pretty cool. Like, he was a cool kid. He knew how to code switch very easily.
Okay.
He was an athlete. He was in the gifted program. He had friends who may have been Crips. He had friends who were making perfect scores in the SAT, right? And he knew how to. And it wasn't that. He was not so comfortable with how teachers who did not know him and did not know his mother, who would have been their colleague, because everywhere else he'd attended school, I was on the faculty, right? So going into a school where, and he really didn't articulate it that way, but I knew that's what he was saying. He said, there's so much pressure to find your fit and to make sure that your teachers understand who you are.
Yes.
I think I want to start somewhere fresh where I'm like, okay, I hear you. Yeah. I hear you. So he went to a Christian school that year. And the good thing about that, it allowed him to see the difference and allowed him to kind of get to know himself and where he would fit. But that school lacked some of the extracurriculars. He's very artistic and creative. He was an athlete, so he did eventually transfer back to that school, but he came back a much more mature student.
He was ready, yeah. I mean, we could have a whole different podcast about the black male, raising mothers who raise black men. And mine is 11, so it is like we're in the midst of saving his life is what I'm into. I'm like, I'm not being dramatic. Like, I want him to have, we had to make an executive decision for him to have his first black male teacher. And we were just like, my husband's like, I'm pulling a teacher card here. Like, he got moved out and it's math and he struggles already, and he really enjoyed this other math teacher who was a black male. And we were like, I don't know if he's ever going to have the opportunity to be in a class where he's enjoying an African American male. I think I did not have an African American male teacher until I was in college. My whole life in California. My whole life. So I was like, this is awesome. Yes, my husband's a teacher as well, but like, we wanted him to have that experience, especially in a STEM area. Yeah. And but then it was that line where you're like, do I step in and
you step in.
Make sure, because I wasn't feeling the vibe on this other guy. I was like, and we waited, but he said, well, so and so was able to move into that class, and his dad is a teacher. And I was like, oh.
And they see that, so.
And he understood, and it wasn't a gifted class. It was a team taught with another highly qualified special ed teacher with this African American male, and he was like, he's so excited about it. So we're happy we made that decision. Sometimes I think as educators, you don't want to step in and be that like hover, I'm going to take over, and you do this and do that, like.
But like Dr. Nina said, you feel like because you're in you expect because you're in a certain socioeconomic bracket that your child will be given the opportunities that other people's children are being given, but they're not. And you do have to step up. You do have to voice it, because I have watched for several years as a teacher and as an administrator, people who know the system and know the teachers and know how things work, always making adjustments for their children. But I think in our community that we feel so strongly that for some reason we trust in the educational system.
We want to trust.
and we assume the best, right?
Right.
You're
taught
colleagues would do what's best for all kids.
And they're not, and that's part of the reason, my story, that's part of the reason I moved my children from the school system that I am currently in back to the one that I left, because I felt like there were no gatekeepers. That's what I have defined them as. Nobody to look out for my child. Things were happening. I felt like I should be getting protected, or my children will be protected in a school where I'm an administrator right across the street in the same group of schools. And that wasn't happening. So we have to stop being shy about taking charge of our kids.
Have a seat.
Yeah, but the thing is, what's so sad is we're educators having all these second thoughts, and we already know how the system works.
Absolutely.
So what are the rest of the people in our community doing? They're accepting it. They're sitting back. They're trusting in it. That, they're not hoping. They really are trusting that the teachers know what they're talking about. They're really sincerely trying to get to know their kids.
They went to school for this. So
Right. So they're going to do the best thing for our kids. No. Not when so-and-so's kid down the street wants to be in that same class, and it's between those two. Baby doll, your baby going to go over here in the class with the underqualified teacher.
So let me share a story about my oldest son. And I'm sure he's not going to mind me telling this. But
he can listen if he wants to.
If he will. So we did move. He went to 3 high schools. So the first high school was the private school. And then by his 10th grade year, he did go back to our neighborhood school. And then we moved and bought a house in a different neighborhood. And so he ended up at his last high school for his senior year. Good high school in the district. And I remember registering him, but I did it because he had football practice. So while working with the counselor and looking at his classes, she looked at his transcripts, she looked at his classes, she goes, he struggled in math, it looks like, in the last couple of years. And yeah, it's not his best subject. And she goes, so we're going, and she's thinking out loud as she's just writing and saying, we're going to put him here, put him in here. And I look and I'm like, consumer math. She goes, yeah. I said, he's a senior. And she goes, yeah. Like, what about trig? Right? What about, she goes, he struggled in math. And I said, he's a senior. If he takes this math, he will not be able to attend a 4-year college. He will not have. Yeah. She goes,
that won't even be an option.
He plays football, right? And I said, what does that have to do with anything? And she goes, because he can always go to a junior college. Thank God my mother, the lead counselor, an award-winning counselor. And my mother was with me, and so she almost had 2 angry black women, my mother's also an educator.
Right.
And so I said, no, that's not your decision to make, whether or not he goes to a junior college or any college, and that you decide for him. Put him in the math class that he should be in. And so she continued to talk about his deficit based on a transcript.
Right, a piece of paper. That's what I was just about to say.
I said, did you not see that he's been in all honors classes and social studies or history? He literally is in the gift from 2 through 7, 8, or whenever the gifted program ends. He was in all gifted classes. Got to high school, he's in honors classes. You're just going to bypass all of that data and look at him making a C.
And say junior college?
And so it got really heated. And she slammed the table and she says, I'm trying to help you out.
Oh.
No.
And I think God just removed the memory from me because erased my database because I cannot remember what I said after that. But I do remember her scribbling whatever and just kind of throwing this at me. So my son didn't see any of that.
Right.
But I had to explain to him, from the first day, your feet cross that threshold.
Yes.
You have got to perform because people have already assumed that you don't have the intellectual capacity to be in a math class with people who don't look like you.
Right.
And so this student did that and actually went off to college and has gone to grad school and is doing just what he wants to do in life. My youngest son was told, who was actually a better student than my oldest son, but he did not test for the gifted program. But he was an average performer. My kids probably were right around 2.8, but were brilliant. Yeah, but they were playing football, they were social, so they were just,
right.
Do what I gotta do.
They saw college like an ATM machine. Oh yeah, when I get ready to go to the university, I'm just gonna swipe your card. No, there's something that you have to do. So by the time my son got to his 11th grade year, 12th grade year, he started realizing that all of his peers were going to top tier state schools, University of Georgia, Auburn, Alabama.
Right.
They're SEC people, like Brigham was a big SEC school.
Yeah.
Well, his counselor told him that his dream school was out of his reach. And so he was looking at University of Georgia, he was looking at Alabama, Auburn, those schools. No, you need to look at schools like Kennesaw State. And there's nothing wrong with Kennesaw State, but he was like, who are they, the Owls or something like that?
He's looking at
the
actual team associated.
Who? I'm like, no, I can't. Well, you better do what you need to do if you want to go to like a school that has a bulldog as a mascot. If you want another kind of animal, you have to be another kind of animal.
Right.
People saying you're kind of an owl. Like if you got the owl characteristics, that's what you're going to be.
Right.
And so he got busy, right? So at the end of the school year, the counselor looked again and said, sorry, so he sent off his stuff to Kennesaw State, and Kennesaw State said he did not have the characteristics or profile of an owl. Like, you... That destroyed my child.
Well, Kennesaw State, low-key, thinks that they're like Harvard of the South. And I don't understand. I'm looking at it. They don't even take certain, like, you know the AP numbers?
Yeah.
If you get a 3 on the AP, they're like, those don't count. And I'm like, you are Kennesaw State.
He was getting 4s on his AP exams, right? What? Kennesaw State told him that he should try perimeter. So I thought I was going to have to call Dr. Phil, Dr. Jesus, like everybody. Like, it's going to be all right. It's going to be all right. I promise you. He did it, but he did well on the SATs, and he was able to get into Auburn.
That's where my husband graduated from.
Really? War Eagle.
Yeah, War Eagle.
English major.
Cool.
3.89 GPA.
Is that all? Because he was supposed to go to
perimeter. And what kind of GPA? And be an owl or not?
He was supposed to be.
He never looked back. And I will tell you,
so good.
He had roommates who did not graduate. He had roommates who had gone to elite private schools. He had roommates whose families were independently filthy rich, very wealthy, a lot of affluence. He went and I think the moment that someone told him that options for his life would be limited, and he had 2 strikes. The first strike was someone was limiting them for me. The second strike was I did it to myself.
Right.
So the part that he knew he could control was I will never let my lack of effort get in the way. And so today he's in law school.
That's awesome.
On scholarship. And so anyway, and there's another story about my daughter that I'll hold for later. But yeah, so and I say that because it's not that I had these 3 geniuses at home who were like, yes, Mom, did you know that the theory of light and blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Yes, thank you. Yeah. So that was like they watched Cartoon Network. They watched much more TV than they should have because I was also in school much of their lives, going to grad school. And so they ate late and went to bed at relatively decent times, but they probably stayed up later than they should have. And
right.
So it wasn't perfect, but I had to really fight for them, and I had to fight them. Like, you will not be mediocre. You just won't be. Right? You will pull your pants up.
Yes.
Now, you pull them down when you get in the driveway. Just don't let me catch you. Right? So we had to do that. And I just worry about the families who, like we were saying, just assume the very best is happening for their children.
Because we do try to position, at least we try to position our children for the best, if they get it or not. I mean, clearly yours did, but just to have them in the right position.
That's right.
Versus just whatever.
Walking through.
I mean, there's a difference there, but then I should have pulled up that quote about African American middle class. This is like the first time that the children have the
I don't know what quote that is, but I've been saying it because I'm my generation, so I'm an 80s baby. Not really. I was an 80s adult. I was.
Wait, the fact that you just said, let me stop.
80s baby.
I was like, us too.
You know what I was thinking? I was thinking 80s baby, like. I was around in the 80s, like the 80s culture.
Right.
I'm like salt and pepper.
All that.
But when I think of those, like I remember having this sense of entitlement because like, well, this is my theory. My generation, and I will say I'm 50 this year, and it's been hard to like get that out.
Blago. Oh my gosh, I can't wait to take a picture and put you on Sweet Tea and Sunshine so they can